Caleb, good to see you. Looking back on the last two editions of the Tour de France, 2020 and of course 2019 with your first stage win there, what have those wins taught you and how have you developed when you look back on the Caleb Ewan that won a stage in the Giro d'Italia or the first time at the Vuelta España?
Yeah, I guess like winning a stage of the Tour de France is like takes you to the next step in your career. It's the race that obviously every rider wants to do well at. It's the race I think that it's hardest to win at because no one goes to the Tour de France in not great condition. Everyone goes there as good as they can go. So I think if you can win there, then it shows that you're up there with the best guys. And I've had a lot of success in my first two editions of the Tour. Yeah, I don't think it's changed too much. I think now I can go there and believe that I can win straight away because I've done it before. But when I went there for the first time, I didn't. Yeah, you never know how good you're going to go or how you're going to compare to the bunch of the best guys. So now I'm confident when I go to a race like that I can win. And I think if you can win at the biggest race in the world, then it gives you confidence in all the other races as well. Yeah, I think I've evolved, quite well. I've had the two best seasons of my career since I've been here. So, it's partly because, like you said, the team's very focused on sprinting and kind of classics. You don't really ride GC so much. So for me, it's a perfect fit. And I think it's just what I needed at the time in my career. I think I came to the team when I was 24. So, I think I was kind of coming into, I'm still coming into my good years, and I'm in a team that's really supportive of my ambitions. So, I think I've definitely developed the last 2 years into maybe more of a leader and a better rider as well. Because as I'm getting older, I think I'm getting stronger as well. Because I'm not at the team camp yet. I haven't had a meeting about what races I'm doing, but my big goal for the year is I don't know if the team's going to agree to it, but this is what I've asked for. I want to try to win a stage in all three Grand Tours in 1 year. So I want to try to do Giro, Tour, Vuelta. I think there hasn't been that many riders in the history of cycling that have done it. I think maybe like 4 or 5 guys. So that's my goal for the year. But obviously, if I don't win in the Giro or don't win in the Tour, then I probably won't continue on to the Vuelta. But if I get through the Giro and win a stage there, get to the Tour, win a stage there, then I'll really seriously consider doing the Vuelta. But it's sometimes seems like a good idea now at the start of the season, and then you get it's the end of the Tour, and you just the thought of riding a bike again is daunting. So, but at the moment that's my big goal for the year. And because there's a lot of sprints in the Tour this year, maybe the green jersey will be something that I'm looking at as well. I've gone now 2 years and just done the sprints and not tried for the green jersey. And I've won, some good stages, and I was waiting for a year that there's lots of sprints where I can get points more in the finishes than in the intermediates. And, if the Tour starts well and I'm up there in the green jersey, then it's something that maybe I will also look at. So, that's I think the main goal. And then, like always, Milan-San Remo is a goal for me. It's the only monument that I can realistically win. But that's a hard one for me to prepare for because the race really depends on the conditions, if I can get through it or not. The last 2 editions I've been pretty bad. So we'll see for that. I'll try to be going my best when I get there. But it's hard now with the guys like Bernard and Alaphilippe and Van der Poel because those guys can go up the hill much faster than me, and they can also sprint pretty well at the end of a hard race as well. So I think Milan-San Remo is kind of almost becoming out of reach now with the type of riders that we've got.
I thought your goal was going to be Paris-Roubaix, but we'll have to put that on for another year for you, maybe 2022. What do you make of the Tour de France 2021 route for sprinters? You mentioned there's a lot of sprint stages there.
To be honest, that's just what I've been told. I didn't actually have a look at it yet. So I heard there's like 8 sprints or something. So I was happy to hear that, because I was pretty disappointed when I went to the route presentation in 2019 to see that the 2020 edition was not going to be great for sprinters. But then, to be honest, looking back on the tour this year, there's still a lot of chances. There was a lot of times where there's a lot of stages where you thought like, it can either be a sprint or not. But it sounds like, from what I've heard, you'll probably be able to tell me better actually, if there's eight pure sprints or not.
Honestly, I don't know. I thought you would know. We better have a look at the route before we get there. And another thing on since these lead-out trains don't exist in the large number of lead-out men that we've had in the past, how much more tactical is it to play that sprint game now? And I assume that also plays into your favor as a small rider that can duck and dive everywhere.
Yeah, I think when I look at myself as a sprinter, I think I'm quite a versatile one where, if my team can really nail a lead out, then I'm happy to come off a lead out. And, if we run out of guys, then I'm confident as well that I can surf the bunch and win from, following other guys or, doing my own sprints. So, yeah, for me, it doesn't really matter. If it's usually better when there's at least one team with a good lead out, because then it's a little bit less messy and you know who you want to follow. But there always seems like there's at least one. Generally, maybe it's not always the same team, but there's usually one team that kind of everything comes together on the day and they do a really good lead out. So you just kind of have to look for those teams. You kind of, if I'm talking about when I'm by myself in the last kilometer or kilometer and a half, I generally look for a team that has the most guys left there at the end. And there's always one. Not always, but there's generally one team that just everything went their way. They got to take it easy and they can come out at the right time and they have a good lead out. But like you said, it's becoming increasingly hard to do it, and the sprints are starting, or the nervousness, I guess, of the bunch is starting a lot earlier than it used to as well. So not only do we have less guys doing lead outs, we're using guys up way earlier than I think they used to in the past. So that also makes the tactics, I think, a little bit harder to judge.
What do you make of Mark Cavendish's return with the Kuna Quick-Step? What do you think he can still do in his career? And if he's at the Tour, how do you think that'll play out with their other guys like Sam Bennett?
I think it's good for his career. I think if there was a team for him to go to kind of reignite his career, it was probably that one. And I remember he used to always speak highly of being there in Quick-Step, and he really liked the environment there. So I'm happy for him that he could get the opportunity to go back there. But yeah, it's going to be hard for him to, at the moment you'd say Sam's a much better sprinter than him, just off the past 2 seasons. So yeah, it's going to be hard for him to. I don't think they'd take both of those guys to the Tour. But it's not just Sam that he has to prove himself against. It's Hodge as well. He's a good sprinter. We'll see how Jakobsen comes back. Hopefully he comes back to his best as well, and that's another guy that Cav has to deal with as well. So, I'm curious to see what his program's going to be like and what role he's going to have in the team, if he's in the team to win races or if he's in the team to help Sam or mentor Sam or mentor any of the younger guys there. I don't know. If he was a normal rider, you would say, yeah, he's past, his peak by far, and he's probably never going to come back. But I feel like with Cav, you can't really ever write him off. Sometimes he surprises you, and there's already been times in his career that you're kind of like, all right, he's done now, and he comes back and does something good. But yeah, it's true that the last few years for him haven't been easy, and then hopefully, or maybe for him, that this is the right move and he'll come back. For sure, the way that this year, like the transition from last year into this year, I think if there was any year that I was going to skip Tour Down Under, it probably would have been this one, because like I said, the season finished late. I'm not the kind of guy that just wants 2 weeks off at the end of the season. I want like a good rest, and I like to really build back up to my next goals. And it's true that when Tour Down Under's on, it's not always a rush to get ready in time, but it's early to be really good there. And obviously, if you're training already so hard in December, then that makes the year really long. But I think the coaches that I've worked with in the past have really managed my seasons well, where I can peak for Tour Down Under, I can kind of peak again for San Remo, and then peak again for the Giro or the Tour or whatever I'm doing, because I have to start winning at my first race of the season, and I'm expected to win in my last race of the season as well. So it's hard to be consistent through the whole year and be good enough to win races. But yeah, I think it's just all down to managing it well. And I think we've seen in the past guys that are flying it down under, maybe never come back for the rest of the season. There's guys that are flying in Australia, and then you don't see them in Europe, and you don't see them again until down under or nationals again. So it's a fine line managing your peaks during the year, and making sure that you're good enough to win in all the races that you go to.